Hey guys, Telegram Sam here. If you don't already know, I have an Instagram. It's Telegram _ Sam _ vinyl. So if you're on Instagram, check me out on there. But today's video is just a recent vinyl pickups where I show you guys the records I've gotten these last 2 weeks. So let's get into it. First off, I have an artist I've been really wanting to dive into. This is Celestial Love by Sun Ra and his Outer Space Orchestra. This originally was released in 1984, and this is a 2020 US press. I would describe this as avant-garde, big band, free jazz. I've always heard Sun Ra's stuff can kind of be a little out there, but this, from what I've read, seems to be his most sort of commercial album. But he's just an artist I always hear people talk about, and people really, really love him, and I just have been really trying to get into his stuff. And I just saw this, and I feel like I've never seen anyone show or talk about this album before, so that's what kind of intrigued me about it. But this was the last studio recordings he did, or he released on his Saturn label, and yeah, I just really love it. It's just one of those great like late night chill jazz albums. It's not too out there. It has a little bit of funkiness to some songs. I just really, really love it, and I could definitely hear like the influence a lot of his stuff would have on later hip hop in the 90s. Yeah, I just really love this album, and I am definitely interested in checking out more of Sun Ra's albums. And this just came on black vinyl with custom label. Next up, another artist I've been wanting to dive into. This is a Non-Sex Monk Rock by Nina Hagen. This is an original 1982 US press, and I would describe this as new wave synth pop punk rock. This was Nina Hagen's debut solo album. It was formerly Nina Hagen Band, and then she ditched the band and then just kind of did her solo stuff with, like session musicians. But this is her album with also all English songs. She is German, and a lot of her albums before this were all in German. This is her first all English album. It's very interesting. I've never really heard Nina Hagen's music before. I've always sort of heard about her and how influential she was to the whole new wave, sort of early industrial scene, punk scene, and she's just such a cool badass woman, and I really love this album. This cover, it's really beautiful. But yeah, this is a very out there album, very avant-garde. You can definitely hear early proto-industrial music. It's kind of like if you were to mix Kate Bush, Susie Sue, and like a whole bunch of mescaline. I feel like that is the best way to describe this album. I don't know if a lot of her other music sounds like this, but that's kind of like the best way I can describe it. And this one just came on Columbia Red Label. Next up, we got an artist I love. This is Faithful by Todd Runge. This is an original 1976 US press, great pop rock album. I was surprised when I posted this on my Instagram stories that a lot of people didn't know about this album. They never even heard of this Todd Runge album, which I find surprising because I feel like this is the one I hear the most about from him, because the A-side is all faithful covers of songs from Bob Dylan, the Beatles, Beach Boys, Jimi Hendrix, and I think there's a Yardbirds song on there too. And then the B-side is just all original stuff. But I really love this album. The covers are really good. Again, they're very faithful to the original songs. I especially like his Good Vibrations Beach Boys cover and his Jimi Hendrix cover. And the B-side, which is all original stuff, is really killer. I think the main reason to buy this album is for the B-side stuff. It's very reminiscent of the songs that were on the Something Anything album, which I think is his greatest album. That's another one I need to get. And a lot of the musicians on here were actually members of Utopia, which was the band Todd Rundgren was in before he went solo. So this is kind of like a Utopia album, but just under the Todd Rundgren name. So, and you can find those for like really cheap. I think I got that for like $5, and this is on the Bearsville label. And then this next one just looked really interesting to me, and so I kind of just took a gamble on it. This is Free and Easy by Bad Wizard. This is an original 2001 German press. I would describe this as rock, hard rock, a little stoner rock vibes to it. But this was the debut album from this Athens, Georgia band. And they only released 5 albums, and their last one was in 2005. I think this album's alright. I don't think it's like the greatest thing I've ever heard. It's definitely very reminiscent of like Thin Lizzy, Bon Scott, AC/DC with like some more newer or like early 2000s bands like Jet. That's what this album kind of reminds me of. I feel like a lot of the songs kind of just all sound the same on this album, which kind of sucks because you can't really, there's no really good talking points for me to explain like, oh, you should listen to this song on this album to get to know it, when literally all the songs really sound the same, have the same sort of tempo, same sort of rhythm. Don't know if this will stay in the collection. If I'm going to keep it, it might require another listen. But if you're interested, I mean, I haven't heard their other albums. Maybe their other albums are a little bit better. But yeah, a really good, solid debut effort from an early 2000s rock band. And this one just came on very sort of dark purple vinyl. And next up, this was such a bummer because literally a couple days after I bought this, Ray Liotta died. This is the Goodfellas movie soundtrack. Goodfellas is definitely one of my top 5 all-time favorite movies. I love this movie. It was something I grew up watching. My mom loves like gangster crime movies, and every time this was on TV, we'd always have to stop what we were doing and watch it. This is one of those movies I've probably seen hundreds, if not thousands of times. I never get tired of watching it. And it just is so great, and the soundtrack is so good. The A side is pretty much like all doo-wop songs from like the Moonglows. You got Tony Bennett on here, the Cadillacs, Bill Ward and his Dominoes, the Chantels, the Shangri-Las. And the B side has kind of have more of the layer stuff that was in the last half of the movie. So Aretha Franklin, Cream, Muddy Waters, and Derek and the Dominoes, which is from that amazing scene where Henry is getting followed or tailed by the FBI and the helicopters, and it's just that crazy scene of him driving around, and just the music always keeps on changing. Like every minute it changes from one song to another, and sort of adds to this whole sort of chaotic craziness of that scene. When someone asked me in my Q&A video what my favorite use of music in a movie was, I almost picked that scene instead of the Apocalypse Now one. But again, I mean, I think anyone who's been alive for the last 15-20 years has probably seen Goodfellas and know how great of a movie it is and how sad it is to lose Ray Liotta. He was in so many other great movies besides this, but this was definitely like his best performance. You cannot imagine anyone else playing Henry Hill besides him. And this one just came on blue vinyl. This was the 2021 reissue. And next up, this one's kind of funny. Kind of shows how my mind works. But this is the Prime Movers Blues Band. My God, this is 2019 U.S. press. But it's funny because I just kind of like saw this in the racks, and I was like, "Huh, that looks interesting." And there was like a little blurb on the shrink wrap saying, "Oh, the first time ever released from this little known garage rock blues band." And I could just like blindly grabbed it, didn't really care. I saw Modern Harmonics did it, and I love everything they released, so I was like, screw it, I'll get it. And then when I got home, I was like, oh shit, that's Iggy Pop. And it says his name right at the bottom, and I didn't even realize it. It's like my Iggy Pop senses were tingling, and I didn't even realize it. But yeah, great blues, garage, rock. This was the band he was in for a few years before he went on and formed the Stooges. He was the drummer in the band. But yeah, first time these tracks are ever being released, and I think they were all recorded live, and they definitely have that sort of gritty live performance feel. But they were together from 65 to 71. I think Iggy Pop was with them from 65 to 67 or 68, right before he left to be the singer of the Stooges. And Iggy sings on the last song on the second disc, I'm a Man. You can definitely hear like what he would end up bringing to the Stooges, and yeah, this is just a really cool thing to have. I can't believe I didn't even notice that Iggy Pop was on it or know about the Prime Movers. But yeah, super killer. If you find these, definitely check it out. And yeah, like I said, it just came on Modern Harmonic. I've loved everything they've done reissues of so far. I think they're sort of a sub-label of Third Man Records. Speaking of Iggy Pop, the record store that's right next to my work had some leftover copies of this from Record Store Day. This is Berlin 91 by Iggy Pop. This originally came out in 1994 as a bootleg, and this is a 2022 French press. Punk rock, the usual Iggy Pop thing. And this is the first time this has been officially released. I think on the little Obi strip on that came with the record, I think it said this was the only time this was ever going to be released. But yeah, like I said, this is part of the last Record Store Day, and I think there was only 4,000 of these pressed. I mean, it's a good show. It's a good recording. I think it's very similar to the Kiss My Blood box set that I got last year, which was also from the Brick to Brick tour, which is where this was taken from. That one was in Paris and this one's in Berlin. So, but the track list is pretty much exactly the same. But yeah, anything Iggy Pop, you guys know me, I'm gonna buy. I have to have it, so had to get it. And it came on 2 records. One was this sort of amber orange, and then this other one is just clear with the custom labels. So yeah, that was all the stuff I bought myself. And then these next few records, Steve from Stereo 999 was so nice to send to me. He has a YouTube channel. I'll link it down below if you guys want to go check it out. First off, he sent me this awesome 7-inch. This is Starry Eyes by The Records. This is a 1979 US press, and The Records are such a great rock, power pop band, and this was their first single from their debut album, Shades in Bed. It's funny because when I originally sent this, I've always kind of heard of The Records, but I never thought I listened to them before. But Starry Eyes, I've definitely heard that song before. But yeah, it just came on this white and blue Virgins label. But yeah, super killer. So glad to have something by The Records. I definitely want to get one of their albums eventually. And next up, this really killer. This is Impulse Energy Essentials, a developmental and historical introduction to the new music. 1972 US press. This is an amazing comp of some great Impulse jazz artists. You have a few songs by John Coltrane, Ornette Coleman, Sonny Rollins, Archie Shepp, Max Roach, Charles Mingus, Alice Coltrane, just so many, Pharoah Sanders, just so many killer jazz artists. It's a 3 record set, and it has on the inside all the songs and the albums they were taken from, and yeah, I'd love to eventually have all of those albums, but this is just such a great, nice sort of beginner entry level sort of free jazz introduction. You have some basic jazz, sort of hard bop jazz, and then the last half of the second record and third vinyl kind of get more out there and kind of free jazz. That's where all like the Alice Coltrane, the later John Coltrane stuff is on. But yeah, this is super, super dope, and this cheesy 70s cover does not do this album and records justice. And yeah, it just came on the black and red Impulse label. Next up, we got this 12-inch single of Never Stop, the discotheque version by Echo and the Bunnymen. This is original 1983 UK single. Echo and the Bunnymen, great new wave sort of indie rock. Never Stop was just a single release, and then the B-side has a Heads Will Roll and the original cutter, which was from their album Porcupine that came out that same year. So I love Echo and the Bunnymen, and they're coming to Portland in late August, and I really hope I get to go see them. But I'm also seeing the B-52s also in late August up in Seattle with my mom, so I don't know if I'll be able to fit it in, but I really, really want to go see them. And then next up we have Rarities by the Beatles. This one unfortunately didn't have the cover, but this is a 1980 US mono comp. Beatles, beat, pop, rock, a little psych. But this has my all-time favorite Beatles song, Helter Skelter, on it. I still need to find a good copy of their White Album. That's probably my favorite Beatles album. But yeah, I just got really excited when I saw that song was on this. But you have Love Me Do, And I Love Her, Help, I Am the Walrus, Don't Pass Me By, The Inner Light, Across the Universe, Sgt. Pepper, Inner Groove. I'm interested to hear that. I don't think that was on Sgt. Pepper's, or maybe it's like a different mix of a Sgt. Pepper song. Who knows? I haven't gotten a chance to listen to this one yet. This I never heard of, but I really, really love this album. This is Thunder and Lightning by Modi Lemon. This is a 2003 US press, and I would describe this as rock, alternative, punk, garage blues. This is their third album, and I just really love this. This is just a killer band. Unfortunately, it looked like the last album they put out was in 2009. But I haven't listened to any of their albums, so I don't know if any of their other albums stand up to this one. But it's like if you were to put Refused, early White Stripes, and the Strokes in a blender, this is the smoothie that would come out of that blender. It's just such a great, like, sort of look into the early 2000s and what was happening in music and rock music, particularly during that time. And it's just a great fusion of like a little bit of everything that was really popular, but they also kind of make it their own, Very much recommend this record and this band if you have not heard of them before, Modi Lemon. And this one just came on black vinyl with this custom label. But yeah, thank you so much, Steve. That was very, very kind of you. And definitely go check out his YouTube channel if you are not familiar with it. But that was all the records I got these last 2 weeks. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.